The man cut off the most beautiful golden hair in the world, and the golden hair became brown, and the long-haired princess became the short-haired princess, and the witch became the witch in the old dragon many years ago. The witch accidentally found a golden flower. This flower can not only cure all diseases but also make people young forever as long as the witch sings to him. The time can turn around and become young, but one day, the pregnant queen was seriously ill. The king sent someone to find this golden flower and brought her back to the palace with her roots with the magic of the golden flower. The queen's serious illness was cured and gave birth to a golden-haired little princess named Lepay, but the witch, who lost her life, naturally refused to give up. She sneaked into the palace at night and sang to the princess. Unexpectedly, in the next second the princess's hair actually shone with golden light. I thought that as long as I got it, I could keep my youth forever. I could cut it off. The golden hair suddenly became brown hair. When the magic disappeared, the witch instantly returned to her original form. So he took the princess away and hid her in a high tower deep in the forest. The witch was in the tower, combing her shiny golden hair, singing a song. The light on the golden hair made him look old and young for a moment. That's how the princess became the witch's child and was kept in the high tower for 18 years. The princess's hair grew to 18 meters and spread all over the room, but she never walked out of the tower. Her only friend was this mutated dragon. Every time the witch comes home, she will shout her name under the tower, and Lepay will throw out his long hair and take his mother back to the tower. Tomorrow is Lepay's 18th birthday. He hopes to go out for a day to see the world outside the tower, because every year on his birthday the sky will be filled with countless beautiful lanterns. However, Lepay did not know that this was his father and mother praying that he could go home as soon as possible. Obviously, the witch would not agree and scared him that the outside world was dangerous. There were monsters everywhere, especially a monster called a man. They were full of mouths. Only the tower is the safest place to lie. But what surprised the witch was that as soon as she left the tower, a man really came to the door. His name was Xiaoshuai. He was a thief who had just stolen a crown from the palace with two Zhongyang robbers, and the soldiers chased after him. Xiaoshuai panicked and entered a secret passage and found the tower separated from the world. He climbed up without thinking and finally climbed into the room. When Xiaoshuai felt safe, Lepay slowly walked up to check and pry open his mouth with a pan and found that the man had no teeth, so he let go a little bit at this time. Xiaoshuai suddenly opened his eyes and Lepay saw that it was a pan again. Afraid of being found by his mother, he hurriedly locked Xiaoshuai in the closet and finally stuffed him in. At this time, Lepay found the crown in Xiaoshuai's bag and put it on his head. He didn't expect it to be so suitable, so he planned to make a deal with Xiaoshuai. The girl has not cut her hair for 18 years. Her hair is so long that it can go around the room for 6 laps. She not only hung her hair in the air to do yoga, but even grabbed a thief with her hair under the whisper of the changing dragon. Xiaoshuai finally woke up. Lepay made a condition for it. As long as Xiaoshuai took himself to the palace to see the sky lantern, he would return the crown to him. Xiaoshuai dared not return to the palace, but faced with the threat of Lepay and the temptation of the crown, he had no choice but to agree. So the adventure journey of the two began. Lepay's first time on the ground in his life. He felt the grass outside, the trees, the birds and the flowers. Everything made him happy to fly. On the other hand, the witch saw a white horse in the forest and felt bad at the moment and quickly ran back to the tower. As expected, there was no one in the tower, only a princess's crown and Xiaoshuai's wanted order in the corner. The witch thought it must be the man who took Lepay away. At this time, Xiaoshuai took Lepay to a tavern where Lepay and everyone had a great time. When he was having fun, the soldiers who caught Xiaoshuai broke in. The tavern owner let the two escape from the dark road. As soon as the soldiers searched for no fruit, a white horse broke into the door. Through the extremely sensitive sense of smell, they quickly found the entrance to the dark road. Here, Xiaoshuai and Lepay passed through the dark road. Unexpectedly, the exit was a big one. At this time, the soldiers had caught up. Lepay shook his hair and swayed easily, reached the opposite side. But Xiaoshuai was in trouble. He used a pan to knock down all the soldiers, but underestimated the fighting power of this little white horse. He beat him to no avail. At a critical moment, Lepay hurriedly threw his long hair over Xiaoshuai, escaped from the white horse's feet. The white horse was not convinced and cut off the wooden beam to support the water. The flood was pouring down on them. Lepay and Xiaoshuai ran away desperately in the chaos. The two ran into a cave and the giant stone below blocked the exit, but the brave flood still penetrated into the cave. They searched everywhere for the exit, but it was of no use. At a critical moment, Lepay suddenly came to his senses. Lepay's hair shone brightly as soon as they found the exit. The two pushed the rock blocking the cave and finally escaped. Then Lepay told Xiaoshuai his secret. If his hair was cut off, it would turn brown and lose magic power. This is why he never cuts his hair. So the two of them were talking about each other's secrets in front of the fire, but they didn't know that the witch was hiding behind them. When Xiaoshuai went out to cut firewood, the witch told Lepay that Xiaoshuai wouldn't like you at all. He was just trying to get that crown back. If you don't believe me, you just need to give him the crown. He was about to abandon you. And the witch left. The girl came to the castle to see the skylight. But as soon as she entered the gate, her long hair caused a traffic jam. The young man behind him hurriedly tidied up his long hair just when he was worried. The 4 little girls with braids suddenly saw such long hair that their mouths couldn't fit. They danced and braided Lepay's braids. It's much more convenient. When they were having fun, Lepay found the king's family portrait in the square, looking at the little girl with golden hair in the arms of the queen. He had an inexplicable sense of familiarity. At night, the annual skylight convention was held as scheduled. Thousands of skylights, like the stars in the sky, lit up the castle in the sky. Lepay's long-cherished wish finally came true and returned the crown to Xiao Shuai. In this romantic atmosphere, the two of them got closer to each other. But at this time, Xiao Shuai's 2 accomplices appeared on the side of the river. They came to ask for the crown. For Lepay, Xiao Shuai decided to wash his hands of the golden basin. He threw the crown to his accomplice. If you want to live a normal life, but what he didn't know was that all of this was a trap set by the witch. Xiao Shuai was knocked out by 2 people on a boat, disguised as an illusion of running away with the crown. Lepay thought he was abandoned by Xiao Shuai, sad and desperate, and the 2 thieves came up with Lepay's idea. At the critical moment, the witch appeared in time and knocked out the 2 thieves. Lepay went back to the witch's side. Naive, he thought his mother had saved him. I didn't know it was all a witch's trick, so he followed the witch back to the tower Lepay was lying on the floor in shock, and at that moment he found the sunflowers on the top of the tower emitting a dazzling golden light, and the memory of the time suddenly appeared in Lepay's mind. He suddenly realized that he was the missing princess. Lepay found the witch and confronted her. The witch saw that the matter had been exposed and there was no need to pretend anymore. Finally, the witch locked Lepay up with an iron chain on the other side. Xiao Shuai rode down the white horse and ran all the way, but he had just climbed up the tower and was stabbed from behind by the witch. Looking at Xiao Shuai bleeding to death on the ground, Lepay begged the witch to save Xiao Shuai as long as he could. He was willing to stay in the tower forever. The witch happily agreed. When Lepay was about to save Xiao Shuai cut off Lepay's golden hair with a knife. This is the only way to free Lepay. His hair turned brown in an instant without magic. The witch immediately became an old witch. She couldn't accept her ugliness, and her spirit began to collapse. Under the help of the color-changing dragon, the witch finally fell off the tower. In fact, he had been alive for hundreds of years before he fell to the ground and had turned into ash. Looking at Xiao Shuai in his arms, Lepay shed tears of sadness. Tears fell on Xiao Shuai's face and fell into his skin and gave birth to a little golden flower. It turned out that the magic power was not in the long hair of Lepay but in his heart. A flower of life slowly bloomed as the golden light slowly disappeared. Xiao Shuai miraculously resurrected. Then Lepay came to the palace and reunited with his father and mother, and Xiao Shuai also became the king's son-in-law from a thief and lived a happy life with the princess. The movie is over here. Like it, remember to like it and follow it. See you next time.